Hello, guys and gals, me Mutahar, and there's no haha moments here. There's no haha, we're gonna have some no, today's video is fucking serious, okay? It's a video that I'm using as a video to append the video that I made a couple hours earlier regarding Tencent. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this video is all about the world we live in and the spying that happens 24/7 around us. Now, the first thing I wanted to append from the Tencent video is I read some of the comments, and most of them were fine. It was a lot of 100% this or 100% that way, which is something I hate on the internet recently, that there's no amount of nuance to have. Like, you can be critical of something and still you can have that middle ground where you can take aspects you like and aspects you dislike and sort of discuss them at a much more nuanced level. I sort of see that not really existing, but hey, let's get further into it. There was a select 2 or 3 comments that I actually read that kind of tilted me just a little bit, I would say, where people kind of equated me to be supportive of like this weird communist regime on the other side of the planet, which I'm gonna say something for the record. All right, you can clip this shit right now. I don't care if YouTube has like some fucking, hate boner for this, or there's like some weird flag that gets tripped in, but I fucking hate the Communist Party of China. I hate them. I hate the CPP. All right, CCP, whatever the fuck. I hate them beyond a belief. I dislike their practice, and I think most people in the world should. All right, if I had to get myself spied on by any country, whether it be America or China, I'd pick America in a fucking heartbeat. Because A, I trust the government just a bit more, and there's the actual aspect of the fact that China has literal fucking death camps that they financed. Believe it or not, if you look at China and their policies recently, they're pretty much Nazi fucking Germany. In fact, if anything, they're like North Korea, except they actually have money and power, which is fucking scary, all right? Now, that's pretty much all I can say. If that offends you, I'm sorry that my dislike of death camps and abhorrent human rights practices fucking offends you. I'm sorry, okay? I don't know what the fuck to tell you, but it is what it is. Now, looking back onto that video, I talked about how it was kind of important to me to have the freedom to sort of be spied on if I choose so, and I guess I'll explain that to an extent, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't really believe so much in banning anything. Like, don't get me wrong, China deserves to be 100% banned. And I think I even made that point to an extent when I talked about WeChat, right? Where there were other applications like QQ from them. Everything Tencent actually should be banned. Take this from my perspective. Tencent is actually a pretty bad fucking company, in my opinion. All the money that Tencent actually spends by overpaying on a lot of these companies in other parts of the world is actually money that they probably haven't made themselves. I can't outright just say it, but I personally believe that the money Tencent spends comes from the actual government of China to just take over the world financially. There you go, conspiracy fucking nutjob hour of the day. That's where my personal beliefs lie, and that's where I'll leave them. When it comes to data collection and spying, I think my point needs to be just reiterated, because a lot of people feel one way or the other. I don't like anybody spying on data. I don't like anybody peeking into my data. I don't like being a fucking blip on anyone's radar. I like to own my data. I like to control the level of spying that actually happens. And I guess I'll discuss it to an extent. I don't like Facebook, I don't like Tencent, I don't like Microsoft, I don't like Apple, I don't like any company that has my data pulling through it and is sitting there analyzing it day in and day out. Let me explain something to you. We are blips, okay? We are blips on the radar. I'm a blip, you're a blip, your mama's a blip, okay? Sally's a blip, Peter's a blip, okay? Everyone in the world is a fucking blip, all right? Everyone who's on the network is a blip. So here's what happens. All of us blips generate a massive amount of data per day. I generate data, you generate data. It's like farting. We do it without even thinking. So when we generate fucking data, guess what happens? There's a server out there run by these companies, whether it be Tencent, Facebook. There are clouds, there are AIs that take all the data we make and segment it into chunks, analyze it piece by piece, and then use that data to sell shit right back to us. And for the most part, I don't even care about that. What I care about is if that data is backdoored. And guess what? Every country backdoors. Whether you live in the US, China, Canada, or the UK, or Australia, or India, each of these governments, I wouldn't be surprised. This is conspiracy theories, but everyone has a backdoor. When you have systems like Prism exposed, there's backdoors that exist everywhere you go that get a peek at all that data. Just like whenever you give your data to Tencent, like I said in my video, when your data goes to Beijing and you think that you're safe because you live here, no. As soon as that data hits Beijing, that data is stored there. And at any moment, if the CCP wanted to get that fucking data, they're gonna get that data. There ain't a thing anybody can do to fight that. It's gonna happen. So now you got governments who can look into all that data anytime they fucking wish. And this is where you get it, again, even more into the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. Alright, you ever watch that movie Minority Report, alright, where they criminalize you for shit that you haven't done? Have you ever read the book 1984, when you get criminalized for things that you haven't done, for your thoughts? That's what you get into. You think about it like this. Every time you Google the word nuclear one too many times, your blip gets tossed into the fucking questionable pile. There's no secret agent that's looking at you through the webcam. Fuck no. Your blip makes that nuclear data request too much, then the big AI in the sky decides to look at you and say, hey, maybe I should toss that blip into the questionable section, because there's people that aren't to be spied on, there's people that have done some questionable shit, and then there's people that are definite risks. You live in a world where the data you produce can almost dictate the life that you have going forward, right? That's the message that I come across. When I talk about data is your most essential asset, I'm not just talking about it from a fucking money perspective. I'm talking about it with your fucking freedoms and your expression in mind. As somebody that believes in freedom of expression and freedom of speech so fucking much that I'd be willing to die for it right now, I shit you not, I would give my fucking life. When I talk about data protection, I'm talking about all that mixed in. So let me explain to you a couple things that you can do. I meet a lot of people who think that they're safe because they put tape over their fucking webcam. You know, they block their microphone. They don't use any Tencent associated app, but they're very fucking keen on going on Facebook, going on Twitter, and talking about all their beliefs and all their shit. This is the kind of stuff that I'm going on with. There's a lot of things that I do to protect my data, to protect myself from being spied on. And I know I'm going to get the comments in the comment section which says, hey Muda, if you have nothing to hide, why hide anything at all? To which I'm going to respond with you like this. How about you just leave your door unlocked? Better yet, how about you call the FBI, tell them to have an agent just stay at your house for 24/7, 365 and listen to every fucking thing you say? How about we do that? How about you just give your unfiltered thoughts every single day? Tell me how comfortable you fucking feel then. Probably not. Probably not going to feel all that comfy. When it comes to my computer, when I made Billy, the Billy rig, where I run everything in virtual machines pretty much, I do that not because I don't like Windows 10 or Mac OS. I use Mac OS to edit my videos, a virtual machine Mac OS to edit my videos, because I don't trust Apple. I literally virtualize their operating system, and the only data, if Apple was to spy on me, is that, wow, here's Jim Bob, that's my account name on fucking Mac. Here's Jim Bob installing Premiere Pro and editing videos. Wow, Jim Bob really doesn't have that exciting of a life. Jim Bob isn't signing into his social media accounts. He isn't signing into his bank accounts. He isn't doing anything weird on the system. Fuck, Jim Bob hasn't even opened up Safari to browse the internet for anything. That's what I use macOS for. When I virtualize Windows, Microsoft, if they were to spy on me, which let's be real, Windows 10 has telemetry features in it, and whatever they tell you is still shady to me. Now, they have a system for you to figure out what they actually are spying on you and what they aren't, but I still don't trust it. You get where I'm coming from? I'm paranoid. I don't trust anything if I can't audit the code of it. So when I use Windows 10, Jim Bob signs on to Windows 10. What is Jim Bob doing on Windows 10? Jim Bob opened the Blizzard launcher. So now you got Tencent kind of involved in it, right? Where Tencent also has a stake with Activision. So now you got Tencent and fucking Microsoft sitting there like, oh, Jim Bob, Windows 10 firing up BattleNet? What is Jim Bob doing? Oh, Jim Bob fired up Call of Duty to play with his homies, Justin Wang and Hugbees and Crinkles for an hour or two? Wow. Okay, I guess we know what Jim Bob is up to. Oh, Jim Bob turned off Call of Duty? Oh, I bet he's going to connect to a web. I bet he's going to search for some wild shit. I bet we'll get to see some of his personal data. Oh, Jim Bob's shutting down the computer? Yeah, you understand what I'm getting at over here? Jim Bob is the alias, and it's the only connection these companies have to my personal data that's stored under virtual machines. So guess what? I get to have my cake. I get to use Mac and edit my videos. I get to use my Windows and play Call of Duty and fuck with Tencent. And guess what? Those guys, I'm giving them the middle finger all the way through because I'm not even using those systems to host all my personal data on. The reason why I don't run them is, again, I don't know what Windows is doing 100% of the time. I don't know what Mac is doing 100% of the time. So I just containerize it so that they only see what they have to see. That's it. I use Linux, GNU plus Linux, as my primary source, Arch Linux. I'm an Arch Linux user, okay? I have to flex that a little bit. When I use Arch Linux because I know that hundreds upon hundreds of programmers and developers and auditors around the world have vetted that operating system. And I know exactly how much Arch Linux is allowed to take out of my system. I control every single aspect of Linux. I don't use Linux because I can't fucking afford a Windows key, okay? My computer, trust me, if you look at the value of it, I can definitely afford the Windows key. I choose not to because I use an operating system that respects my privacy. I use an operating system that I control the data flow of. When it comes to my cell phone, all right, I use cell phones that I can exactly flash my own Android open source operating system on so that I know that my data, all right, isn't beholden to Samsung or Google or any of the manufacturers out there. And let alone I don't use a fucking iPhone whatsoever. I control my data even on my cellular devices, which quite possibly is where you should be worried the most. If you're not taking care of your cell phone data, I don't know what the hell you're doing. And when it comes to my social media accounts, I use nothing. The only social media I use is YouTube and Twitter. And the only reason I use YouTube and Twitter is because I need to tweet out things, you know, regarding videos and whatnot. And I use YouTube to post videos and send them to you. That's about it. I cringe whenever I see people in my personal life using Facebook to tell every single thing about their life publicly. And then, coincidentally, those are the same fucking smooth brains that tell me, I'm safe, my data isn't being spied upon. Bitch, you're being spied upon because you post every single fucking thing about your life. And your location services are always on. What's wrong with you? What the fuck? It's those things that I always preach against. There's a lot of things that you can do to ensure the safety of your data. And while you can never be 100% safe on the internet, because guess what? In order to function in the world that we have created, you have to give up some information in order to actually live. If you want to work professionally, yeah, you have to sign up for some banking services. You have to get an email account, sure. But you don't have to give every single thing away. It's why I barely use things like Reddit or anything by signing in and creating an account. I have accounts for sure, but I limit greatly whatever I post publicly. Because like I said, we live in a world where all of these tech companies are housing and controlling our data. And for the most part, the control and use of this data is harmless. But it's that second, third step that I'm paranoid of from all sides. Is why I don't choose to go into it even further than I have to. It's why when I use my operating system, I choose to not use an operating system that forces me to be attached to a big mega corporation to begin with, okay? It might sound a bit, you know, you fuck the system-ish type of deal with you and me, but those are the lengths that I go to, and they're not even massive lengths either. This whole computer setup took me maybe 20-30 minutes to set up in the first place. Same thing with my phone setup, but it's these bare things that I do to protect my data the most. I can't protect it 100% of the time, but 99% is better than fucking zero. That's for goddamn sure. And I think the reason why I wanted to append it is I need to get that whole message across, okay? I'm getting kind of like, I see comments here and there, you know, and again, I don't really care too much, you know, people say what they have to say, but when I see comments that are like, why is he being so paranoid? Why do you use a million virtual machines? Hell, why are you so worried about data being spied on? Are you on a specific side? Are you an American shill or a Chinese shill? I'm not a shill for anything. I don't care about it. If it's one thing that I am a shill for, it's protecting our fucking freedoms, and it's protecting our ability to be fucking as anonymous as we can be on the internet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the world is a wild place. When I tell you data is the new currency, data is the new gold, I fucking mean it. Data is more important than oil, is more important than any industry that has come before it. And the world will probably end before there's an even bigger industry than data. This is how the world fucking works, ladies and gentlemen. So sorry if it came across too serious, but I wanted to append, and I wanted to just bring across, you know, my thoughts 100% wholesale. So this video you can probably pin for a while if you want to ever come across Muda's thoughts and beliefs on computer security and the world around him to an extent. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have an amazing day. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.